If you're not closing as many deals as you want, if your commission checks just aren't where they should be, there's one thing that's holding you back. I've run sales teams, I've trained closers, and I've hired and fired more reps than I can count. And across all of that experience, there's one mistake that kills more deals than anything else I've seen. It's not bad closing lines. It's not objection handling. It's what happens before the pitch, or in most cases, what doesn't happen at all. And the worst part is, most reps don't even realize they're doing it. So let me show you exactly what I mean with a quick story. I was looking for a new gym. Around the office, I was looking to be able to sneak out at lunchtime. So I was on the hunt for a place to go. And there were a handful of different gyms within a 5-minute drive, really good location. So I went into this one location and I was greeted when I walked through the door. There were a couple sales reps standing there, and actually one of the girls was in training and shadowing this one rep. So he shook me by the hand, good start, and he welcomed me to the gym and said, "Hey, let me take you on a tour." So far, so good. He takes me on a tour of the gym. He shows me the treadmill area. He talks about how there's some X number of treadmills, all of the different cardio machines. Okay. And then he takes me to another spot, tells me all about the free weights and all the different mats and the medicine balls. Okay. And then he takes me back to the front of the gym and starts pitching me the price. So this guy just finished taking me on a 10-minute tour of the gym. He showed me all of this stuff, told me how great it was, but never once did he ask me what I was looking for. Never once did he ask me what was important to me. Never once did he ask me what was interesting about the gym and what actually had me walk in the door in the first place. So this guy, during his pitch and the tour, he was talking to me about stuff I didn't care about. I'm not going to go to the gym and go on the treadmill for an hour. I've got a walking desk at home where I get all of my steps in. I didn't care about the medicine balls. I've got that at home. What I was looking for was very specific machines. I don't have a leg press at home. I was looking for that. I've got a squat rack, but I've got only X number of weight there. So I was looking if I could do some heavier weight at the gym. That's what was important to me. So by the time he got to his pitch and he dropped the price, he had basically talked about everything other than what I was actually after. So how did that pitch go? Not very well. It didn't end in a sale, even though I walked into the gym. I actually remember this. I was walking into the gym. Halfway through the parking lot, I stopped because I forgot my wallet. So I walked back to my car, so I had my credit card available so I could sign up on the spot. I was supposed to be a lay-down customer, but because the sales rep missed a very key part of the sales conversation, he lost that sale. So the moral of the story is, if you're not closing as many sales as you think you should be, and if your commission checks don't look like you think they should look, you're missing what this sales rep missed, which is called discovery. Discovery is the process in which we as a salesperson, we ask questions of the prospect to find out what they're after, what things are important to them, what kind of solutions have they tried in the past. Because if we don't do that and we just start talking, we're just wasting our words, because chances are we're not on target and we're just making ourselves look silly in the eyes of the prospect. Let me show you what I mean. The easiest way to think of sales is we're on two opposite sides of a river. Okay, so this is our river right here. The prospect is on this side. On this side of the river, they're sad because they have a lot of pain. They have frustration. They have an ominous dark cloud over them. There's all of these things that are bad happening to them. Depending on your industry, it could be prospects losing sales. Maybe they're wasting money on ads. Maybe they're not closing. Maybe they have bad feet and they need orthotics, whatever it is. There's a lot of pain here. But on the other side of the river, they've got rainbows and unicorns. Here's a rainbow, right? Everything looks great on this side. There's pain-free. They've achieved their goals. They've hit their targets. They walk without, needing a cane, whatever it is. Your job as a sales rep is to find out exactly what's going on and be able to paint the picture today. And then also paint the picture of tomorrow so you know what they're aiming for, what they want in their mind. Now, your product is the bridge across the river. Because in the river, we've got sharks, we've got piranhas, we've got Ebola disease, we've got all of these bad things in the river that if the prospect tried going across the river on their own, they would get stuck, right? They would lose money, they would waste time, whatever it is. They would get stuck if they tried going across. So your product builds a bridge from one side of the river to the next side. And you as a sales rep, all you have to do, once you've painted this picture out, is take them by the hand and walk them across the river from today in pain, tomorrow achievement and success. That's the sales process in a nutshell. But to do that, everything starts with discovery. So many times, the number one mistake sales reps make, especially when they're new, they ask one or two quick questions and then they just dump their pitch on the prospect. And it's not going to hit because we don't know enough yet. I have a simple framework that you can use to follow and make sure you're hitting all of the important parts in the discovery process so you're not jumping the gun and being like that gym salesperson. And it's called dig. Number one, we have to dig below the surface. So every time we start a sales conversation, the prospect comes in thinking that they have a specific problem. Now, oftentimes, the problem they think they have is not the problem they actually do. So let me give you a fitness example just to match our gym story. A lot of people enter a gym thinking that they have an exercise problem, when in fact, they have a diet problem. So because we all know six packs are made in the kitchen. So if the sales rep just takes what the prospect is telling them at face value, they're going to miss the bottom of the iceberg that's sitting below the water. So we have to dig below. So let's say hypothetically you're in a marketing type of offer and you're selling marketing services, and the person comes in, your prospect tells you that they have bad leads. A lot of amateur salespeople will just automatically start pitching about how your lead process is a whole lot better, rather than digging, because maybe it's not the lead quality that's poor, maybe it's their conversion, maybe it's their sales, maybe they're not doing discovery with their prospects. But unless we dig, unless we start chunking down and going deeper and deeper and deeper, you don't really know. So my rule of thumb for our sales team is we have to go 3 levels deeper from the surface to uncover the real problem. Once we've isolated the true problem, not the problem the prospect thinks they have, the real issue that's going on, we have to identify the stakes. Because what happens, an amateur salesperson, if they skip this process and they automatically start pitching, they're going to get objections that sound like this. Oh, well, let me just think about it. Or, oh, well, this isn't a priority. This probably works in a couple months from now. Or, I don't think we have the budget for it right now. Why are you getting those objections at the end of your sales call? Because you haven't identified the stakes, meaning what happens if they don't fix this problem immediately? It's kind of like a wound festering or a problem that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We have to find the cost of not fixing that issue. So going back to the fitness example, if somebody doesn't lose 100 pounds, what is at risk? Immediate risk of a heart attack. We want to find out, can they not have a surgery that they need? Maybe they can't travel comfortably. Maybe they're barred from taking their grandkids out to an amusement park because they can't fit on the roller coasters. What is at stake today? Because by the time we finish with our pitch and now you're going for the close, you've built up that internal pressure because there's something at stake, something tangible that we've identified. Now, when we're identifying the stakes, it's not good enough for the prospect just to tell us, well, I might have a heart attack. No, we have to go deeper. What's the personal impact on them? If you're selling B2B, what's the impact on the business? Oh, okay, well, tell me more. Again, we want to go 3 levels deeper than the initial response we get from the prospect. Okay, we always want to go minimum of 3 levels deeper because that's when we get into the real good stuff. Now, once we've gotten to the real problem, once we've identified what happens if we don't solve that problem, now we have to get the vision. Because going back to our example of the two sides of the river, we've painted this story of today, finding the problem, digging below, and identifying the stakes. But we haven't painted the picture of the unicorns and the rainbows and everybody frolicking in Tomorrowland where everything's great. So this is where we have to understand where they want to go. So, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, once we figure out this issue and we find a solution and it's no longer a problem, what's your vision for your company? What's the vision for your family? What's the vision for you? Whatever it is, whatever is appropriate for the offer you're selling. What is the vision? And we want to paint that and make it tangible. We want to get all of the details there. And again, we're going multiple levels deep just so we can paint the picture. So the one thing I tell all of my reps is if you close your eyes, can you actually see the painting of their future in your head? And when you close your eyes, can you actually feel the pain and see the picture of their today? If you can't do that, if you can't go to somebody else and describe in vivid detail exactly what's going on, you haven't done discovery good enough. You haven't gone deep enough. But if you follow this dig framework, you dig below the surface to find the real problem, you identify the stakes, what happens if they don't solve the problem, and then you get the vision. You paint that picture of tomorrow once that problem's solved. Now you have all the ammunition you need to now effectively pitch because you know what they're interested in, you know what's at stake, you know what they're aiming for. Now you can tailor your presentation and you're going to hit everything you need to get the close. Now, there are 3 mistakes that reps consistently make when they're following this discovery framework. Mistake number 1, they interrogate, they don't have a conversation. And this especially happens with a newer rep when they haven't practiced and role played and really ingrained the process into them. What happens is they just have a list of questions that they've written down. Somebody's given them this list of questions, and all they do is they ask the question, ask the question, ask the question. That sounds like an interrogation. What we have to do is we have to implant those questions into a conversation. So as you're speaking with somebody, you're not going to just say, how was the movie? What did you think? What was the end result of the movie? When did you see this movie again? You sound like a robot. Nobody wants to talk with a robot. You're like, hey, how was the movie? Did you like it? Oh yeah, the movie was great. Oh, cool. Okay, well, who was your favorite character? See how you're adding things, you're not acting like a robot? This is what we need because a prospect is not going to open up to you if you sound robotic, if you're interrogating them. But if you're sounding genuine, if you're speaking in a real tone, if you're using proper inflection, now we get the real information because now we've opened up that door and the prospect's willing to walk through with us. The second mistake a lot of reps make is they ask questions that are too generic, right? What is the problem right now in your business? What is the challenge you are facing today in your business? Those are generic questions that don't even fit, right? Like you're just walking in and all you have is vanilla ice cream. You need more selection. So as a rep, you have to think about, hey, what question can I ask that will get me the answer I'm looking for, but also demonstrate my expertise? So let me give you this example. Let's say you walk into the doctor and you have a headache. And the doctor just asks you general questions about your health. Oh, well, how many vitamins have you been taking? What's your diet like? No, you're in to see the doctor about your headache. You expect the doctor to ask you questions like, well, where in your head does it hurt? How long has it been hurting? On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is the pain? If you walk into a doctor like this, you automatically see that doctor as a professional because they're asking the right types of questions. I'm not a doctor, but I have some idea on what the guy should be asking me. It's the same thing for you and your prospects on a sales call. If you ask questions that your prospect doesn't feel are the right questions based on your area of expertise, you've already lost because you're not demonstrating your expertise. So you have to ask specific questions that are going to place you in a position of authority and demonstrate that, yes, you do know what you're talking about. And the third common mistake, even following this process, we see it all the time, jumping the gun. So even if you are following this dig framework and you are getting to the root of the problem, you are identifying what's at stake and you are painting the vision, if you still jump to your pitch too soon, you've blown it. So generally speaking, if you are selling a high ticket offer of some sort, you're going to be in discovery for 15, 20, sometimes even half an hour, because we can't move to the pitch. We can't even start talking about ourselves until we've focused 100% on the prospect and gone to the root of every single problem and painted those pictures for us. So the only time you should ever think about moving to the pitch is when you know for sure you have every single detail you need. You have every emotion, every cost, everything at stake. You have the vision, you have the pain. Once you have all of that, only then can you even think about asking permission to move to selling. So before you rush into your next pitch, slow down, dig deeper, get everything you need, and paint the picture. And if you are selling a high ticket offer right now, if it's your offer, you have a program, if you have a product, something high ticket, and you're looking for a better way to sell, to go from one-to-one selling to selling to one-to-many, maybe selling 20, 50, 100 units of your product or service at once, especially if it's high ticket, we can help you with that. That's our expertise. So in the description box, click the link. You'll be taken to a page. You can book a call with my team and we'll walk you through. We'll see how we can help. And yes, we will be following the proper discovery method. So we'll make sure we get all of the right details so we can customize a solution plan for you. So click on the link and I'll see you then.